Chapter 24, Fame's Hall of Shame. When we finished the amazing ChzBrgr tour that Halloween, ICP was on a whole nother level in popularity, one we had never seen before. We were straight up fucking large, at least we were through our eyes and in our world. I came home off the road to discover some Juggalos had broken into my house. How do I know it was Juggalos? Because none of my shit was gone. None of the expensive shit like the DVD players or the flat screen TVs or anything like that. Nothing like that was missing. All that was missing was my gold and platinum records from the Great Malenko ripped off my walls. All my fucking ICP shit gone. My family photo albums gone. Only the shit that really mattered to me was now gone. I was devastated. More than that, I was pissed off and ready to murder somebody's fucking neck. If you ask me if I could ever kill a man, let me tell you this. If I caught somebody breaking into my house, not only could I kill him, but I could also take his ID, drive to the guy's house, and kill everybody in his family too. Maybe not that far, but at least fucking kill his homie or something. I was used to being hound dog, having people go through our garbage or be in the bushes when I got home. Ninjas were always sneaking around in my backyard, scaring my mom when she's over there watching my house and shit.
I got ninjas in my backyard wearing anybody killer paint.
That song lyric from Into Thy Light off the 6th Ain't No Lie. I was starting to get used to all that crazy shit. It was almost kind of a sick game. When I'd find Juggalos at my house and tell them to leave and never come back, you know, respect me and my privacy, then they'd go tell their friends and they would return with even more ninjas and I would have to beat their ass every time. A Juggalo is a Juggalo and a hound dog is a hound dog. I can live with beating a hound dog's ass no matter how much he likes our music. That don't mean break into my garbage for souvenirs. Even my boy Billy Bill moved in with me just to help fight off all the butt sniffers that started coming around about this time. After my house got broken into and all my good shit was jacked, I had no choice but to sell the house. It broke my heart. And I really don't like to think about it that much. But what happened was, when I bought that house, I told the guy who I was buying the house from who I was and what I did for a living. And apparently, he told his son. Now, his son went to all the local area schools and grew up in that neighborhood. And everybody in the neighborhood knew where that kid lived. So when word spread that Violent J bought such and such's house, everybody knew exactly where it was, and everybody would come over and fucking honk their horn until we opened up the door. Then they'd speed off, or a fucking camera would flash through the window. It was just pure and utter style. It never felt safe. It never felt private. It never felt comfortable. We were always on edge and always alert. Fuck that house. That house had to go. Yeah, it was just a house. But to come from the world I did and to actually buy your own house is an unreal feeling. I wanted that house forever. I was proud of it more than anything. So fucking what? Joey and I always say we share the same fame of superstars, even if our bank accounts and record sales don't exactly match that. You see, I feel rich as hell only because I was raised so poor. And Shaggy's the same exact way. If you really look at us, we really ain't that rich. Neither one of us has a mansion or a fucking Rolls Royce or a Bentley. We couldn't afford them if we wanted them. We every bit are what they call hood rich. We don't collect rare cars and art and shit like that. We have just enough money where we can be the shit in the hood. That means we might be able to drive a fresh car, not a fucking rare European art car, but a fucking fresh car everybody knows what it is. Like maybe even a fucking Cadillac or something fresh like that. Put some fucking D's on it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the farthest to the extent of our richness, but we damn sure ain't gonna pull up in some Italian fucking rare Ferrari only 500 ever made, in the seat was customly made to adjust my butt crevices. Nah, we ain't riding like that. Compared to how we were raised, we were now ghetto fabulous. We got more than other people around us, but that's just because we don't know anybody that's got anything. We don't have millions of fans, but the few we have are so fucking devoted and so insanely down that we might as well have millions. They seem to be everywhere. We may only have 10 fans, and they have 100. But our 10 fans are 10 times as strong as the regular fan, so we might as well have that 100, if you feel the deal. Even being a little bit famous seems so easy for Joey and Twisted in them, but it's not for me. They don't even notice when we're being followed around at Best Buy or at the mall or whatever. It always seems like we could have a whole parade of ninjas following our crew before they'll even notice it. Are the people following us all juggalos? That's just it. Fuck no. Most of the people who hound dog don't even know who they're hounding. They just heard that this person was famous, so they'll jump right on the nutsack and hound off. One thing I do know is that if you're famous, you're on your fucking own. It's you on one side and them, the public, on the other. The people, the masses, aka everybody is on one side and you and your lonely ass is on the other. It's cut and dry. You versus everybody. That's what it's like being famous. And we're barely fucking famous, but we're famous enough to tell you that's the deal. And let me explain. It unravels like this. Everyday people, everybody who ain't even your fans at all and have nothing to do with you and don't even know your name are gonna have expectations of you because you're famous. They're gonna expect autographs, pictures, talk. And if you don't give them what they want, that person will spend the rest of their life dissing you in your band or whoever the fuck you are. Every time your name comes up, they're gonna tell that story about the moment they met you, and they're gonna tell everybody about how you let them down. Let's say you're having dinner in a restaurant and a ninja comes up to you and asks you for a quick photo, and you're balls deep in a conversation with the hottie that you're spitting your finest game to. So you turn and you look at that ninja and you say, "Not right now, homie. I'm eating and I'm in a private conversation." That guy is gonna go back to his table with his boys or whoever, and he's gonna say, "What a fucking dick, man. He couldn't even take a fucking 20-second photo with me. What a fucking asshole, man. Fucking, I pay that dude's paycheck." Whether or not this kid actually owns any of your CDs, that's most likely what he's gonna say anyway. "I pay that dude's fucking salary and he can't even take a fucking picture with me." And from that day on, every time your name comes up, that kid will be like, "I met that guy. He's a dick. He's a straight up asshole." And those people who hear the story will continue to tell their friends, "Yeah, I heard he's an asshole." And that's just official off that one meeting, that one day that you yourself don't even remember. But that motherfucker does, and is still to this day telling people you're a dick for it. Why? Because when you're the celebrity, you have people coming up to you all the time. And it's you against everybody. Motherfucker, think about it. You can't tell everybody anything. If everybody sees it one way, then that's the way it is. Everybody keeps coming day after day after day, state after state after state. Everybody acts a certain way around famous people, and because it's everybody acting that way, then everybody is cool with it. I hope I'm making sense. There are no books written for famous people on how to deal with being famous. You have to learn that on your fucking own, because there aren't enough famous people around to buy that book or to bother writing a book like that. So why would they bother writing a book nobody's gonna read? A shrink ain't gonna tell you how to deal with being a celebrity, because a shrink or a psychiatrist don't have any fucking clue what it's like either. How the fuck are they gonna know what it's like? Maybe a famous doctor, like Dr. Drew or Dr. Phil even, could tell you something. But who the fuck are they? And it's not like you can just pick the phone up and call them when you need them either. Being quote unquote a celebrity creates many obstacles for me. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to hear about those crybaby obstacles. So you gotta live with them, and you gotta shut the fuck up and shut the fuck up. Only other stars have these problems, and they're not even real people. Any really famous star who dares to go on TV and question the stupid way the public acts every time him and his wife are out having dinner, he's fucked. You can't question the ways of everybody when that's who you're talking about. I don't know why, but I just can't grasp it all. I never will be able to. It overwhelms the hell out of me. It's not that I don't like it or that I do like it. It's just really hard for me to keep my emotional balance, because having some people treat me that way just doesn't always work well with my bipolar mental state. I remember a long time ago when I was a kid, one of my mom's friends, maybe she was an aunt or something, I don't know, but I remember she was over at the house and she was talking about how she read an article about Prince. And the article said that if you work for Prince and he comes walking into the room or past you or anything like that, you are not to connect eyes with Prince, and you are told to look at the floor, and you're not allowed to talk to him. And then from there, the conversation in the room just went on and on and on about what a stuck-up bitch and what an asshole and what a superstar conceited dickhead Prince must be, with nobody giving a thought to reality. All right? Just take being ICP for a minute, all right? Here we are in a club that only holds 800 people, a small club for a small-time rap group, all right? And we're sitting in there and we're talking to our boys. Not only are we being stared at constantly by the local stagehands, but they will grab a cord or a fucking part of something and they will walk by every single person who works for us all the way up to us, to either me or Shaggy, and say, where should I put these cables, bro? Number one is if we have a clue where the fuck those cables go. Number two, why the fuck are you asking us when all these other people clearly will be able to answer that question? I'll tell you why. It's because they want to interact with you in some way or another to create a story or to answer their own curiosities about what you're like. You know, Eminem said something one time, I believe it was in a song, he said, I'm always staring at the floor, trying not to connect eyes, because that opens conversation. That makes so much fucking sense. Check it out. We're talking about ICP's level of fame. Just imagine being Prince when you have 300 people working for you, all right? All of them in 12 tour buses and fucking 8 semis while you're on this huge tour. Do you really want to be stared at, gawked at, and fucking hound dogged by the very people you employ? By the people you're paying? Does anybody give it a thought of what it must be like for Prince to have a bunch of dudes staring at you like you're a hot chick. They stare at you like they think you're about to suddenly bust out and start rapping, or in Prince's case, do the splits and start freaking a piano. It's like, what are they waiting for you to do? Why are they staring at you? Once they look at you, they see you. That should be enough. Why do they continue to stare and stare and stare? And eventually, they get the courage to come up to you and talk to you, to open a conversation, which is what they really want to do. Then they tell you about how their cousin's brother fucking loves you or whatever. It's all pointless babble for their benefit. So they can say, yeah, I talked to such and such, he wasn't shit, or whatever. But nobody is on the side of the quote unquote celebrity, because it's the celebrity versus everybody. And everybody is always right. To be honest, Juggalos, I have bad days when I walk into that venue to talk to Billy or talk to my boys setting up the stage, or for whatever reason, and I'm being stared at by all the local people, and they're staring and they're staring. And I wish sometimes we could make a rule. Everybody looks at the floor when we walk in, because even at our small level of fame, I myself can't take it very well. I don't like being stared at like that, especially when I go out. I don't like being followed. I don't like being stared at. I don't like any of that. Imagine being Prince. Imagine being a real superstar whose face is on television every day. You can't even fathom what it's like for them. So for them to at least make a rule to their own employees, don't talk to me and don't stare at me, to me makes all the sense in the fucking world, because he doesn't know all 300 of those employees. Those are strangers to him. I'm sure Prince has his inner circle, and they're allowed to talk to Prince all they want. But complete strangers, yes, it makes perfect sense to me why Prince had that rule. God rest his soul. Joey and I both spent not 1 or 2 summers, but maybe 5 full years of our young lives going downtown to Joe Louis and Cobo arenas and getting autographs from all the wrestlers coming out the back door. We'd missed the show. I told you this earlier in the book, and we just wanted to meet them in person. But think about this. We spent those 5 years meeting people we thought were the biggest stars in the world. To us, they were. To us, back then, wrestlers made the world go round. When the WWE came to town, I thought the whole fucking city knew it, just like us. I thought every person in every car, in every cab, everywhere in traffic on the freeway at 5 o'clock, I thought they were all hip to wrestling being in town that night. I thought everybody was talking about it just like we were. When we'd meet those wrestling stars, I would say certain things, and I'd think at home for hours about what I wanted to say and how I wanted to act around these stars. I never wanted to offend them. I knew I only had a second of their time. I knew I only had a second, and I tried my hardest to say the right things to them, to make them be cool with me. That was when I was only around 10 or 11 or 12 years old. It's hard to believe, but I've been that celebrity to other ninjas in my life, and I've also been the fan. So when fans act stupid and say fucking dumb shit to me, I know it and I think about it. I think, no, fuck you, because I was a fan too. For years, I was a fan, and I never would have ever thought to say or do anything fucking stupid like that unless I was a dick. For example, just think of this. You're having dinner once again with a hottie, and here comes some lady, and she taps you on the shoulder, and she says, "Excuse me,
Are you Wicked J or Evil J or whoever? Listen, my son is a huge fan and he didn't want to bother you while you were eating to ask for an autograph, so I came to get one for him. Can you please sign this for him?
And I'm thinking to myself, your son, who looks about 12, was smart enough to leave me alone in this moment of intimacy with this hottie. But his mom is not smart enough. Or you get this one every single day of your life. Hey bro, excuse me. Listen man, I know you probably get this all the time, and I know I'm being a pest, but can I get a quick photo with you right quick? If you know I get this all the time, and you know you're being a pest, you know you're bothering me then, and you're still doing it. So why the fuck should I take a picture with you? The way I feel, if you know you're being a pest to me, then fuck you too. Think about it. Why would you tell him, look, I know I'm being bothersome, but will you still do this for me? It's like walking up and saying, hey man, I'm about to be a dick, but I'm gonna be a dick anyway, cause I don't give a fuck about you really. I just want something from you. So can you take this photo with me? Fans will be fans. And of course, juggalos will be juggalos. And there's no need for me to even explain the difference because of course you already know. Luckily for us, we're hardly famous. Sure, we got some fans. There are ICP fans out there that don't follow the Joker's Card Saga, and they don't follow the internet, or they don't read the Hatchet Heralds and things like that. But they're still fans. Juggalos aren't fans though. Juggalos are family. They're like a special club. It's a membership of ninjas only. It never sucks meeting a trio-ass juggalo. It's usually just a sup ninja, where the weed at type of thing. To us, that's cool because that's who we are. And it's easy to deal with because it's real and it's street. It don't even seem like music is the only thing we have in common with juggalos. We try to give juggalos so much more than the average fan gets from the band they love, you know. It's like if you follow J-Lo, the things fucking J-Lo does for her fans, we try to supply 50 times fresher for juggalos. We've always released new and fresh, hard to find shit to collect. There's always something out there. If you're on the chase, we'll put you on the chase, and we'll lead you right to a fucking treasure trove if you're looking for it. We have fun with collectors. We love interacting with juggalos because they inform us on how good or how bad we're doing. They let us know if we're on the right track or not. Talking to a juggalo at the mall is a fucking blessing. Talking to a fan or somebody who recognizes you because their little brother's cousin's neighbor is a juggalo, talking to that motherfucker is a waste of fucking time. ICP always tries to do it like Prince. We always try to show up when you least expect it to get everybody hype at the last second. We like to show up at in-stores out of the blue. We like to show up at stupid, small, independent wrestling shows. We like to do surprises on our hotline or on our website, surprise get-togethers and more. We always do anything we can to keep the juggalos happy, busy, and entertained. We lose hundreds of thousands a year on shit like JCW wrestling tours and our sometimes massive stage sets and lighting, but it's all worth it to us. We get out of it exactly what we put into it. If we put everything we got into it, what we get out of it is the bombest shows the juggalos have ever seen. It's all worth every penny. When a hound dog comes knocking on my door at my house, they're going way past the limits of what we're trying to share with them. They're going way beyond peeping behind the curtain. They're sneaking into the fucking bathroom of the dressing room into the shower where I'm washing my itch, and that's way beyond my personal space. So when a ninja comes to my front door, juggalo or not, I don't see him as a fucking friend. I don't care if he's got a tattoo of my face on his back. When he comes to my house, it's like they're going way out of bounds. Then after I try to reason with them and explain that, if they're still hanging around, I have no choice but to pummel their face until it caves in pumpkin style. And believe me, it can be a bitch burying all those bodies in my backyard all the time. Like it or not, but this is the fact. When you give a lot, people start to expect a lot. And when you fail to meet those expectations, they quickly switch and hate you as much as they once loved you. That's no lie. That statement right there is so fucking trill, it's sick. I could easily fill the rest of this book with about 12 other phone-sized novels, all full of tales and situations that prove my above statement. I've seen it all over and over and over too many times to even attempt to tell you about them all. I could easily fill the rest of this book and about 12 other phone book-sized novels full of tales and situations that prove my statement above. I've seen it all over and over too many times to even attempt to tell you about. So, now that we're on the same page, allow me to show you some small examples. As I remember one of my very first situations like this, it was in 1995, and I was working up at the office we had in Oak Park, Michigan. The phones were going off like crazy. Finally, I answered the phone, and this kid was like, "Hey, this is Violent J. I recognize your voice. This is Violent J, isn't it?" And I was like, "No, it's not." He's like, "Yeah, it is. This Violent J, dog." I was like, "All right, it is. This is Jay. What's up, man?" He was like, "Oh man, I fucking love you guys, man. Man, you guys don't even know, man. And check this out. I got this one ultra rare orange riddle box cassette." And see, here's the deal. I myself collect 2 of everything we've ever put out, and I've never seen this orange riddle box cassette. "Man, I collect all your shit. Well, before it all got stolen." Anyways, I'm like, "Man, I've never seen this orange riddle box cassette." I thought he was bullshitting straight up, to be honest. But no, this kid was like, "Man, I bought the fucking album and it came with an orange cassette." I was sure this kid was full of that bullshit. But then I told him, "Send me that orange cassette. And if you're telling me the truth, if you send me an orange riddle box cassette, I'll fucking send you the biggest box of merchandise out of our own warehouse that you've ever seen in your life." I told him that because I was certain this kid was lying. 3 days later, it comes in the mail, an orange riddle box cassette. So we quickly called Jive Records, who was putting out the Riddle Box album at that time. We asked, "What the fuck is up with these orange cassettes?" They said, "Oh yeah, we just pressed up 20,000 of them on orange because we had so many orange cassettes left over from some other project." Then we called around to some stores, and sure enough, the orange cassettes were now everywhere at that point. I said, "Man, I gotta come through on my word for this kid, even though now the orange cassettes are everywhere." I still made him the promise, and I gotta keep my word. So I went in the back and I put together the biggest box of merch you've ever seen in your fucking life. Jerseys, jackets, every fucking thing. It had to be a box well worth over $5 grand easily. I taped that bad boy up and I sent it overnight to his house, FedEx. About 2 weeks go by. And then everybody at the office is like, "Man, some kid named Matt keeps calling for you nonstop every hour, bro. He's saying he's gotta talk to you." So I finally called him back, and he was like, yeah, I'm the kid that sent you the orange riddle box, remember me? I'm like, yeah, Ninja, did you get the box I sent? He was like, yeah, well, that's what I gotta talk to you about. When you told me I was gonna get that box of shit, I told everybody in my neighborhood, man. I told everybody at school it was coming. And sure enough, FedEx delivered it right to my house, but nobody was home. So they put it in the back by the garage. And some kids in the neighborhood opened my fence and ripped it off, snatched my box, man. They fucking stole it. Man, that sucks so bad. Can you please send me another one? So me and my brother Rob talked about it. I'm like, Rob, what if he really did get ripped off? How bad would that suck for him? And my brother was like, that would suck, but no, he's lying, dog. I guarantee you this kid is fucking lying. But I'm like, Rob, what if? You know, what if he really did get ripped off? How bad would that suck? And he was like, all right, I guess you're right. So I put together another second big ass box, again worth about 5K large worth of shit, rare shit, collectible shit, dope shit, all psychopathic, authentic, dope freshness. And we sent it out to him once again. At this point, everybody at the office knew what was going on. So the kid sends a letter and they give it to me. And now they're giving me the letters that he sends over and over. And in his letters, at first he's like, thank you, Jay. I got the box. Oh man, it's so fresh. You're the shit. Man, Jay, I fucking love you forever, bro. By the way, can you answer these 3 questions for me? What is the butterfly? I've been trying to figure it out my whole life. And what is this? And also, what's up with that? Hit me back, bro. I love you. Much clown love. The reality is, I don't really do much corresponding back and forth, writing letters. I never have, and I just don't have much time for it. I do try to write certain letters back, but I considered sending 2 boxes out to this kid was fresh enough. He got his hookup. He's straight. So I never wrote him back. Just too busy, straight up too fucking busy. So then he writes another letter. Hey man, you never wrote me back, homie. What's up with that? Man, here, answer these questions, blah, blah, blah. And once again, honestly, I never wrote him back. The truth is, I just didn't have any time or any desire to have a fucking pen pal with this kid. You know what I'm saying? Besides, we got hundreds, sometimes thousands of letters coming in every fucking month. There's just no time to answer them all. The 3rd letter the kid sends me sounds like this. Fuck you, man. I knew you were just like everybody else. Kid Rock rules. You're just a poser. I knew you wouldn't write me back. You ain't down for your fans. Fuck you, man. Please believe me, y'all. We go through this sort of thing time and time again. It's like if you walk out of your house every day out of the blue and hand somebody a $5 bill. That ninja is gonna be like, what? For me? Thank you, man. And then the next day you come out and you give him a $5 bill. He's gonna be like, again? Wow, man, thanks, homie. And then you do it again the next day, and the next, and the next. And let's say you do it for the following 5 months. But then one day you wake up and you decide you're done handing this guy $5 every day. So you walk out of the house and you just pat him on the shoulder and say, good morning, bro, and walk on by. I guarantee you that guy is going to be like, where's my $5? And then when you say, I'm not giving you $5 anymore, bro, you're on your own, he's going to say, oh man, how you gonna hold me, dog? You just gonna turn into a bitch on me out of the blue? You just gonna bitch out on me like that? Well, fuck you, dog. Fuck you then, you ain't no homie. Even though you're 5 months ahead of giving this ninja a $5 bill every day. You're still ahead. You've done nothing but hooked him up. Because you stopped hooking him up, all of a sudden, you're a hoe. That's the way it works when it's you versus everybody. Alright? It's like if you do a fucking special telethon every year and you do the telethon and raise money for the sick. You do this wonderful thing for 12 years straight. Finally, you're tired and your bones are aching and you're old and you can't do the telethon anymore. People are gonna say, oh, he's a hoe now, just sitting on top of his money. I remember he used to do a telethon every year and give money to the sick. Now he just gives money to himself. What a bitch. Another time, Joey and I decided to wrestle on a small independent wrestling show in Michigan just for the fuck of it. Some friends of ours were putting on the show, and they asked us if we would wrestle under fake names. We had nothing going on with ICP at that particular minute. Plus, we weren't going to be wrestling in face paint, so we didn't want any Juggalos to know we were going to be on the show, only because we hate being seen without face paint. Remember, this was the 90s, before the internet even blew up. This is before ninjas had cameras in their phones, watches and necklaces and glasses and everything else. This is before Facebook and YouTube, and before it was fucking pointless to try to hide your face. This is when you could still get away with ducking in and out of venues wearing wrestling masks and fresh shit like that. And besides, we loved wrestling. It's just something we wanted to do because we always have it in our blood, and here we have this fresh day off. Well, about a week later, we were doing an ICP in-store at a record store in Garden City, Michigan called Rock of Ages, and thank God they're still in business today, and they are a bomb-ass store. This ninja came up to me at the in-store, and he had a flyer for the wrestling show, and he asked me, hey man, are you guys gonna be on this show? I heard you're gonna be on it, aren't you guys? You guys are gonna be wrestling on this fucking show. Is it true? I was stunned. I said, what makes you think we're gonna be wrestling on this fucking show? And he said, my homie's brother is a wrestler and he's on the show. We overheard him talking to the guys running the show, and they made him swear to keep it a secret. Don't worry, dude, I haven't told anybody, and I ain't gonna tell anybody about it. I pulled this kid aside and I explained myself to him perfectly clear. I said, ninja, if you give me your word as a man that you won't tell a fucking soul, I'll hook you up right now with $1,000 worth of this fresh ICP shit right here. All you have to do is keep this a secret. Now listen, kid, if you don't keep it a secret, I won't be able to do anything about it. I don't even know you. But you and I will both know that you are a fucking bitch of a man. Because you gave me your fucking word, and we both know if you break it, your word is fucking worthless, just like you. Now, this is the bottom line. If you keep the secret, you deserve all the shit I'm giving you, and you're a true down-ass juggalo. If you take all this free shit and still sell me out, and you tell everybody about us being on that show next week, then you and I will both forever know that your word ain't worth jack shit, and you're a bitch of a man. Do you understand? And he was like, yeah, man, I got it, man. I fucking promise. I'm a juggalo, bro. I ain't gonna say shit. Then I told him, well, if you do, we'll never see you again either way. As long as you know what you really are, it's all good. I ain't no bitch, Jay. Thanks for all this fresh free shit. And don't worry, my word is good. Juggalo clown love. Peace. Now, do I really need to tell you the end of this story? What do you think happened? Sure enough, When we went to wrestle that next week, Joey and I walked in the door, and it was all Juggalos in the crowd. We turned right around and walked back out. We had no choice. We couldn't wrestle without clown paint, and we weren't about to wrestle as Violent J and Shaggy. On our way back to the car, I asked this one Juggalo, "How did you guys find out about us being on this show?" And the kid was like, "Man, this kid Jeremy told us, man. He said you and Shaggy gave him a big ass bag of free shit and everything. He said you guys hooked him up because he knew who you guys were and that you guys were wrestlers." I wasn't surprised at all. I was just saddened. I was really let down, I can't front. I asked the ninja, "Did this kid tell you something else? Like maybe he's a bitch?" Most Juggalos understand what the Dark Carnival is for real all about. And most Juggalos, of course, are truly, truly down, especially today as I'm making this audiobook in 2016. The Juggalos still around today, most of them are truly hardcore, deeply rooted and authentic. But back then especially, some Juggalos were just out and about. They were, and some still are, selfishly along for the ride for their own reasons. They are bitches in disguise. Let me just give you one more tiny example so you understand and don't think I'm just crying for no reason, because it's definitely not hard to be a celebrity. It's easy. I'm not trying to cry about it and sound like a bitch, but when you do have anxiety and depression, sometimes it can be a little much. We have the ICP hotline. The ICP hotline has been in effect for over 25 years now. I'm not saying it gets updated every day or even every month, but just know the ICP hotline has existed. It's been breathing life into its lungs for 25 years. God bless the ICP hotline. Yeah! It's usually just a voicemail message setup. We try to update it, but we suck at it. Every now and then we'll get on it and really start rolling though for a month or two straight. Usually the Rude Boy hosts it full time, but I like to jump on it every so often and have fun running my mouth. One time in 1998, I was hosting a hotline and I came up with a crazy fresh idea for any Michigan area Juggalos who just might happen to be calling that day and want to have some fun. I went on the hotline and I said, "If you want to meet ICP and Twisted tonight, hurry up and go to the Blue Room Bar on Jefferson Avenue in Southwest Detroit." I explained that there would be 3 envelopes taped to the back of the building. Just go right to the back of the Blue Room Bar and you'll see 3 white envelopes taped to the wall. Each envelope will contain further instructions. When you and your crew get out there, please just take 1 envelope. That way, 2 other crews behind you will each be able to grab one as well. If you get there and all 3 envelopes are gone, well, we're sorry, but you got there too late. Now, when the first, second, and third crews arrived at the Blue Room Bar to find their envelopes, they would have opened them and each would have contained a note that read something like this: "You're one of the lucky 3 crews. Now, drive all the way across town to the northern suburbs of Detroit and go to the Denny's on 12 Mile Road and Woodward Avenue. Once you get there, look under the sink in the men's bathroom, and taped up under there will be your next envelope. Juggalos, please remember to show love and just take 1 envelope. Leave the rest for the other crews behind you on the same mission as you. This is not a race. This is just how to get to the place. So just follow the instructions and meet us at our final goal. Once they received the second envelope from under the sink at Denny's, they would open it up to find further instructions that read, "You're getting close. Now go to the east side of Detroit and look on the brown telephone pole right there in the alleyway behind the Spectrum laundromat for your next envelope. There's only one telephone pole back there. Look on the bottom of the telephone pole and find your next envelope." Naturally, the lucky ninjas followed the instructions and headed to the east side. As soon as they got their envelope from behind the laundromat, they opened it to find this message: "Ninjas, you did it! Here is the secret info. Meet ICP and Twisted behind St. Andrew's Hall in downtown Detroit at exactly midnight tonight, and they will personally give you a fat ass prize." It was definitely a cool ass idea, but it took us all fucking day to set that whole fucking thing up. So what? Think about how cool that shit must have been for them Juggalos. It was an awesome plan. When we showed up at St. Andrew's Hall that night, we expected to find 3 separate crews waiting for us in the back parking lot. However, when we got there were only 4 ninjas standing back there. I got out of the car and I asked where the other 2 crews are at. One of the 4 ninjas made no beef about telling me that him and his crew were the first ones there behind the Blue Room bar, and they, for some stale-ass reason, snatched all 3 envelopes themselves. Those fucking bastards. All that work to set all that up, and we begged them on the hotline, do not take any extra envelopes. Think about the ninjas behind you also racing to get there. Don't take extra envelopes, just take yours and move on. But these fucking idiots, this crew, got greedy and took everything. Those bastards. I guess the whole fresh game we set up for them, just for the fuck of it, just wasn't enough flavor for them. They just wanted more. Bitches always want more, no matter what you're doing for them. We cursed these ninjas out and left without giving them a fucking thing. Them greedy bastards. We made sure they understood exactly what it was they did wrong and how fucked up it was and how they can keep their envelopes because they ain't worth shit and how they fucked it all up by being greedy bastards. There should have been 3 fresh crews back there and we would have hooked them up each with a fat ass box of freshness. Instead, we took our 3 boxes right the fuck back home with us. Just goes to show you, even when you give a little and it's all in the good, some hoes still try to take it all and it's all to the bad. Bullshit, I tell you. Bullshit!